Hello, this is Molly Reamer with 30 Days of Goddess and Bridget's Grove with this week's mini ritual for the Creative Spirit Circle. And this week I have a slightly different format in that I am using multiple different decks and not my own daily practice deck this time. And I am using an affirmation deck from Linda Fabry, which was a recent surprise gift from Teal. So thanks to Teal for that. And I'm also decided as we cross, so we're in October, this is our theme is magic, and the goddess we are honoring is Hecate, and so I decided it's the perfect month to dig deeply into the Song of the Grandmothers deck, which was a gift from Carmen at the beginning, or I guess at the end of last year, and I've really enjoyed that deck this year, and it seems like this is an appropriate month to dig back into it. We used the Rooted Woman Oracle last month to kind of guide us thematically, and I think it is the perfect month of ancestor wisdom to see what the Song of the Grandmothers deck has to teach us. I also have the Hecate card briefly from Chris Waldher's Goddess Oracle, and then I have our Herb of the Month card from Maya Toll's Illustrated Herbiary, as well as one of our practice cards from 30 Days of Goddess. So a whole buffet of opportunities and possibilities for you today as we step into October. So first, we're going to go ahead and start with our Herb of the Month, and I just absolutely love this one. We received Tulsi, or Holy Basil, with the message of you are sacred. I really feel like this is one of my favorite herbs from the deck. I love Tulsi tea. It is so good. And it just feels like it gives me something I need. And so when I see this card, it makes me think of those questions of knowing the kind of nourishment you need. So, you know the kind of nourishment you need. You can trust yourself to know the kind of nourishment you need. You are sacred, and you know what kind of nourishment you need. So what are you craving? What are you seeking? What do you long for the taste of? Let yourself have what you need. So Tulsi is our Herb of the Month. Anyway, if you can get your hands on any Tulsi tea, please do, because it just feels really nourishing and just what you need. So checking in with Maya Toll's book about in the section about Tulsi, she says, so Tulsi is also called holy basil. It's traditionally planted in a special pot by the front door of homes in South Asia. This holiest of plants is thought alternately of as a household deity and a manifestation of the goddess Lakshmi. So it brings heaven to earth. Tulsi says you are strongest when you let spirit help you adapt to the ups and downs of daily life. If you befriend Tulsi, she might give you a further message. Your spirit flows through your physical form, and your soul is fed through your body's senses. You might wear Tulsi beads around your neck to remind you that you are home for the spirit and you are sacred. I sent out Tulsi beads it's a couple years ago in a Tulsi inspired patron kit, and I have some Tulsi beads myself. And so if you have any Tulsi beads, check in with them, reminding you that you are sacred and a home for your spirit. Tulsi asks you to come home to yourself. I've written and spoken so often this year about returning, about coming home, crossing the threshold back into your own heart. Tulsi asks you to come home to yourself. We might often look externally for the sacred while then treating our own selves like flotsam on life's current. Holy Basil knows that coming home to yourself is not something you do once, but a practice to be repeated over and over. As Patricia Lynn Riley says, and I say often too, the life practice is to return. Tulsi's presence is your reminder. Come home, come home, come home. So some potential practice ideas: plant Tulsi in a pot by your door. I have some friends who grow Tulsi, and sometimes they give me Tulsi tea, and that's always delightful. So plant Tulsi in a pot by your door to remind you to carry blessings into the world, and upon your return to take time to care for and nurture yourself. You may even just put a photograph or a drawing of Tulsi or this card by your door to remind you. Hang Tulsi beads in such a way that they brush you, gently reminding her of your presence every time you enter and leave your house. Carry the sacred out into the world and gift it to yourself upon your return. Come home again and again. An affirmation might be, I come home again and again. I carry the sacred out into the world and I gift it to myself. Tulsi's benediction is, what if you are holy just as you are? What if you don't need to be more spiritual, more kind, or more anything? What if you acknowledged yourself just the way you already are as a sacred being? How would that shift who you are and how you show up in the world. So if you accepted yourself just as you are, how would that change how you show up in the world? How would that change what you bring to this earth? How would it change what you carry out into the sacred? So lots to think about with Dulcie. And so since that connects really sweetly to, so the Song of the Grandmother's deck doesn't always have plant cards, but we happen to have a nice plant card here. And that tea that I referenced that feels so nourishing to me that I blended up myself from loose herbs, and rosemary's in it as well. And so I smiled to see this grandmother rosemary card as our Song of the Grandmothers, our ancestor card for today, keeping in mind that we can have ancestors. I write sometimes of ancestors of bone and ancestors of stone. We have land ancestors too in our landscapes and in the plants and the trees. There's ancestors all around us, and we learn from all of them. So this Grandmother Rosemary is the card of source. More than what you see, remember who you are. Here, your form, love itself. Your form is love itself. So that's a really sweet connection to this notion that you are sacred, you're holy already as you are, and your form is love itself already. So checking in to see what the little guidebook has to say for that by Kara Simons. And so Grandmother Rosemary is rooted in the soil, glowing in mature self-expression while still connected to the earth. From beneath, her golden light travels up and out, symboling the innate radiance coursing inside each of us from the love who creates all. Let's see what we have. Taking time to consciously remember or consciously return is another way of expressing love towards yourself. And I write too that the heart of a devotional practice to me, the heart of a spiritual life for me, is to remember. Sometimes I say remember, reclaim, and return. Sometimes I say remember, return, and begin, because that's what it involves. We don't finish. We don't figure it all out. We don't arrive. We remember, we reclaim, and we return again and again and again. So taking the time to consciously remember is another way to express love to yourself. Your soul knows who you are, what you want, and when and where you've been before, why you're here, and how to be. May you allow yourself space to listen. So I allow myself time and space to listen to my soul is a good affirmation for this week. Grandmother Rosemary reminds you to watch for the clues you scattered for yourself in mapping out this lifetime. And so this is what she says. Wake up, dearest. It's time for you to know again the things you knew before. Here, take my hand. Feel the cool, smooth lines of my fingers inside your own. It is safe to let your memories and knowing come, however they will. It is safe to let your memories and knowing come, however they will. And then, moving away from herbal allies and into, let's have a little animal wisdom here. So this is a new deck that was a gift from, as I mentioned, a gift from Teal. So gift from Carmen, gift from Teal. All the gifts today is nice I love to explore them in this way. And so this one, this affirmation deck, we got the little fox card. Be playful. Be playful. Worry is a lonely endeavor, but joy and laughter call you out into the wilderness of your soul so wisdom can find you. So you may say something like, I allow wisdom to find me. I allow wisdom to find me. I journey into the wilderness of my soul and listen. I journey into the wilderness of my soul and listen. That's another potential affirmation for this week. And then in a really sorry little lady, a really sweet connection to our Hecate card. The Hecate card from this particular Goddess Inspiration Oracle is this card of wisdom. Gather wisdom from deep resources. So here we had this call out into the wilderness of your soul so wisdom can find you. Here we have Hecate as the dark one with the message to gather wisdom from deep sources. Gather wisdom from deep sources. So where are you gathering wisdom? Are you listening to the land? Are you listening to the animals? Are you listening to the plants? Are you listening to your soul? Are you listening to your own life? Are you listening to your dream time? Are you listening to those ancestors of blood and those ancestors of stone, or bone and stone? What are your deep resources? What are your deep resources? And so checking in with the little book. The keywords that go with this card are menopause, wisdom, and the supernatural. In ancient Greece, Hecate was honored as the Dark One, a mysterious goddess who brought knowledge from the realm beyond life, which really is what this Grandmother Rosemary card was a lot about as well. As the wise crone aspect of the triple goddess, Hecate symbols the dark or waning moon, the time when the moon withholds its light before it illuminates the night sky once more. During these times, women who had reached menopause were believed to hold their life-giving powers within themselves, like the dark moon. And they were empowered by this retaining of their wisdom. Like Hecate, they were crones, crowned with the intelligence of their years. As the goddess of the dark moon, Hecate was also affiliated with storms, howling dogs, and willow trees, which I have to say, when I saw the rosemary card for the first time, I thought it was a willow tree. Like when I just first glanced at it, I thought it was willow, so I thought that was kind of a fun little connection, even though it's not, but not willow. But she was affiliated with storms, howling dogs, and willow trees, and symbolized by a key, able to unlock untold riches from heaven and earth. So I gather wisdom from deep sources. I gather wisdom from deep sources. And speaking of gathering wisdom from deep sources, here's one of our snapshot cards for the month from 30 Days of Goddess, and I think it is a perfect reminder to close out this week's ritual. We come from the realm of the infinite, expansive and free. We remember who we are. We have stardust in our bones, galaxies in our eyes, and eternity in our bellies. Our power is our own. We are here to live our magic, to taste our holy calling, to inhabit joy, and to dance with divinity in this endless web of being and becoming, remembering and returning. I didn't even see those two remember connections right there, which is just what we were talking about with really Rosemary, Hecate, and this playful card, and really Tulsi as well. So we come from the realm of the infinite, expansive and free. So may you listen to the ancestors this week. May you remember to be playful, and may you remember that you are sacred as you listen to the wisdom from deep sources. Thank you so much for being here. Keep living your magic. Bye-bye.